Welcome everybody. Today we're taking a look at a new 4K limited edition release from Arrow Video. I feel like we've done these numerous of times already so far this year, but it is nonetheless 1993's Falling Down. So this is directed by Joel Schumacher, who also did the likes of The Lost Boys, The Time to Kill, Phone Booth, The Client, but he's probably best remembered for doing two of the Batman films, Batman Forever and the hideous Batman and Robin. But yeah, this is an action drama, clocks in at 113 minutes long, and had a budget of $25 million, but had a box office return of 96 million, so definitely a success. And stars the likes of Michael Douglas. Now, for when I'm talking about the cast today, we're going to be going through talking about films that this was a part of a series of when it came to me growing up. As from about the age of 10 or 11 to about 17 or 18, there were a whole swath of films that I watched repeatedly. And yeah, numerous cast members in this were in other films outside of this one that I watched on repeat. So we're going to talk about those films. So when it came to Michael Douglas, other films on repeat from him would be the likes of Fatal Attraction, Basic Instinct, The Game, and The War of the Roses. Then you got Robert Duvall, who I repeatedly watched in the likes of Deep Impact, Gone in 60 Seconds, and Bullet. Then you got Barbara Hershey in the likes of The Entity, Rachel Ticotin, who was in the likes of Total Recall, Con Air, Man on Fire, and Turbulence. Tuesday Weld, who was in the likes of Thief and Once Upon a Time in America. And finally, Lois Smith, who was in Twister. She was also in Fatal Attraction, as well as Midnight Run and Minority Report. So, yeah, whole swath of films there that I watched when growing up, and yeah, definitely informed my tastes later in life. So, an ordinary man is frustrated with the various flaws he sees in society, and he begins to psychotically and violently lash out against them. So, now there is plenty to like about this, as the cast is great, the pacing is on point, the cinematography and editing are exquisite, especially during the opening scene with the credits. It is a highly engrossing effort throughout. The score is excellent, there is some solid action, it features a few moments of effective tension, and I love the fact that it all set within a single day in sun-drenched Los Angeles from early morning right until late afternoon. So that said though, this wouldn't be special at all without its thematic weight. And although it could be argued that its themes of poverty, the exploitation of the common man, the inequality divide, and how capitalism treats people as disposable could be seen as rather surface level, especially since it doesn't explicitly call out the reasons why these problems exist. It's just one man's reaction to those problems existing in the first place. I still find this to be a fascinating mainstream effort that neatly balances its themes alongside the characterization of our lead, who is arguably both the villain and the victim in this, which isn't all that common for a reasonably sized budgeted film like this. I really wouldn't have expected any kind of film with this kind of budget to be that kind of way, quite frankly. And yeah, $25 million was a reasonably sized amount at the end of the day. That's only about half the amount of Total Recall only a few years ago. So definitely a big budgeted film for the time. And yeah, a really, really good quote from this film that really helps sum up the kind of themes of this film comes right towards the end, where Michael Douglas's character says, "I did everything they told me to." He got educated, he got a really good job in defense, no less. So he was, helping protect America. Um, got married, had a child, had a home, and yet as soon as he lost his job, pretty much all of that went away, and there was no real support at all when you consider the fact that he was clearly having a mental breakdown. Yeah, and then he loses it all basically after losing his job as well. So yeah, it's definitely one of those films that I feel could be seen in many different ways. I know some people like to see it as a in a different light to me, but then I do feel like the way that I'm seeing it is also a positive way to look at it as well. But when it comes to films in general, regardless of thematic weight or not, there's always going to be different angles to look at a film, and this is just one way that I look at it. But yeah, I do think it's an excellent film overall, and yeah, definitely one of the rarities from the 90s in terms of these kind of bigger budgeted, more mainstream films. So yeah, it's going to get a 4.5 out of 5 from me. Definitely my favourite Joel Schumacher film that I've seen so far, and definitely one of my favourites from the cast involved as well, particularly from a period when I was growing up and seeing a lot of different kind of films in general. Um, and yeah, on the reverse of the sleeve itself, we have a shot from the film where it eventually gets payback on a few gangland members who initially try and get him off his turf in a violent get them off of their turf in a violent manner, and then they do a drive-by shooting, and they crash, and he ends up using one of their guns on them in terms of wounding them. He doesn't kill anyone explicitly until he comes across a vile Nazi fascist in a what do you call it? A surplus store, I think it is. But yeah, really rather iconic scene in that regard. And then we got the film itself. So it's had a brand new 4K restoration by Arrow Films, approved by cinematographer Andrei Barkowiak. Like I said, the cinematography was excellent, so it's nice to see that he's also contributed towards this 4K release. And yeah, you could kind of see this as being a somewhat similar in terms of the way that To Live and Die in LA looks. Although obviously this is on the flip side of the law, because even though you're doing it with Robert Duvall as a policeman trying to hunt down Michael Douglas's character, it is mainly about Michael Douglas's character at the end of the day. So yeah, but you can see it as a kind of a companion piece to that film in some aspects. And then it's also had newly restored original lossless stereo 2.0 and DTS HD MA 4.0 surround audio. I used the 4.0 option there, and yeah, for one particular scene with a bazooka and a crane, that audio definitely came to light. But it also really helps the score itself and the general ambient noise of LA as well. You also got optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, archival audio commentary by director Joel Schumacher, editor Paul Hirsch, screenwriter Abby Rose Smith, LA Times writer Sean Hubler, and actors Michael Douglas, Michael Paul Chan, Vondi Curtis Hall, and Frederick Forrest. Then you got Man on the Edge, a brand new interview with screenwriter Abby Rose Smith. At War with the World, a brand new interview with composer James Newton Howard. So it's nice to see that we're also getting an interview with him. The score is great as well. I really like that guitar noise that they have that comes in every now and then, which is, yeah, really rather quite evocative and memorable. You've also got Going Home, a brand new location featurette revisiting the real-life Los Angeles sites used in Falling Down. So one part of the plot is that they're trying to track all of these instances that Michael Douglas's character is committing, and they slowly realise the direction that he is going in, eventually towards Venice Beach. Then you've got Deconstructing Defense. So Defense is how he is mainly referred to, even though we do eventually know his name at some point. That is from the license plate that he has on his car. And that is an archival interview with Michael Douglas. And you got original trailer, image gallery, and the booklet that comes with this release as well. So there's no new artwork for this release, but then again, that's an iconic bit of artwork as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, in the booklet, you get your cast and your crew, and then you get I'm the Bad Guy, Nostalgia, America, and the Military Imagination in Falling Down by Alexandra Helen Nicholas. Then you got White Collar, The Look of Defense by Simon Ward, and then about the presentation and production credits, as well as shots from the film as well. So you got the likes of Robert Duvall there. So I only realised when researching the cast and looking them up and such, that Michael Douglas actually retired last year, which is a bit of a shame because obviously he's been in a great many a film, but you know, you can see why. You know, he's in his 80s. I don't think his dad, Kurt Douglas, retired until his late 80s, so he's retired a little bit earlier than he did. But you know, working into your 80s is a big ask for anyone, let alone in the acting profession. So yeah. So the original 35mm camera negatives were scanned at 4K 16-bit resolution at Warner Brothers Motion Picture Imaging, and the film was restored in 4K resolution and color graded at Duplictech. The color grading was supervised and approved by the director of photography or the cinematographer. And the original 4.0 and 2.0 stereo audio mixes were restored by Borstein Gilslazen, and all materials sourced for the restoration were made available by Warner Brothers. So yeah, really good restoration as far as I'm concerned. It's a film that, like I said, has long been a favourite. I do believe I had it on Blu-ray maybe somewhere, but it's really nice to finally have it on 4K, which is obviously the ultimate format to currently have films on. And yeah, if you've never seen it though, then it might not have the same kind of impact as it would have done if you'd have seen it either when you were younger or, you know, earlier at an earlier point of time. But I do really think it is still an excellent film, and I do really think it holds up. many quotable lines, some really rather good injection of black humour at times as well. And yeah, just a really, really engaging effort, and one that I do still highly regard. So yeah, nonetheless, so if you have seen Falling Down, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.